So we got Troll returning in the new expansion, we have the Ethereals possibly coming back, we have the Shadow of Azeroth hint related to Quota Loss, we have the possible reformation of the Burning Legion, we have the potential interference of the Raptors and his Dreadlords, we have a ton of revamp hints, there are hints of a new continent, there is a brand new title facility, we are yet to discover there was hinted at. This is literally only half what we currently know, as there's so many hints for the next expansion. The new expansion will be announced only a few months from this video, so let us really quickly go over every single hint that we currently have and what we can take from that. So the new patch was announced for the 5th of September, which means that 10.2 will most likely come out sometime around October, and it is all but 100% certain that we will have the new expansion announced on this year's BlizzCon. The actual league season is going to really start any minute now. However, we actually have at least 10 interesting hints, but even more, and not just random speculations, but things that are literally in the game that we could data mine, that we can observe, and that we can draw speculations from. So let's cover every single one that we have. First of all, and something I'm pretty sure all of you have noticed, is the revamp part that has been happening for a few years now, but super hard in Dragonflight, and literally every single patch and mini patch, some things are happening. Most recently, we got the new skyboxes, some weather changes, but we've gotten everything from new assets to new player skeletons to new guard models. Blizzard also started revamping the old holiday events. They're constantly adding new customizations, new changes to keep the player models fresh. All of these are hinting at a revamp happening behind the scenes, and really so far a lot of ground has been set up for a big Cataclysm style revamp to happen, as they have a huge backlog of new assets that they can really employ at any time. While I personally don't see the entire world of Azeroth being just completely remade next year, I could totally see a big area of it, such as Silvermoon or some of the other major cities, getting a huge tune-up in the next expansion. However, this is only the start, this is just the aesthetic part. To be completely honest, all the kind of hints at this point are leading us toward a Void later expansion. This is the most heavily supported theory. I've already talked about Anshul, the Cosmic Wanderer, that may be related to Loon, but they have done so much to introduce Void as a cosmological force, and to really show us that there is a difference between the Void and the Old Gods. Other than this, I mean, we have literal Old Gods everywhere. We have the return of Zalatat, which was obvious in the newest cinematic. We have hints of Ashara returning from the Veil of the Void. Even more interestingly, we have the return of Ethereals that got hints at the start of Dragonflight, and now with the most recent patch as well. First, we got a coin that an Ethereal was observing us and learning from us, and now in 10.1.7, we data mined an Ecodome that you may know is quite related to them, as we had seen these guys on Outland and we had seen their Ecodomes. I'm not just talking about them because they could be a possible race, but you need to keep in mind that when we're talking about a Void invasion, Void Lords, I mean, this is literally the race to talk about. These are people that successfully managed to fend off a Void Lord invasion for a little while until their forms got destroyed, and then they have been traveling the universe looking for revenge against the Void. If you want some tips on how to defend against the Void Lords, I mean, these would be the guys to ask. They're pretty much exactly the same as the Draenei, just that the Draenei got burned by the Legion, these guys got burned by the Void. Even more interestingly, they could even be related to the brokers from Shadowlands that have been seeking the most secret knowledge of the universe in the first ones for some unknown reason. So something is obviously going on with these guys, and they're all related to the Void. However, things get even more interesting with the hints. This Ethereal that is following us is tied to the Void Elves and the Realm. Now in 10.1.5, we data mined some changes to that little part of Quotalas in Northern Lordaeron that is not actually accessible, and it is called the Shadow of Azeroth, which many see as the potential new expansion name. For a few years now, this place had this strange void dome above it that has not yet really been explained. We don't know how tight this is, but obviously it is connected, since Blizzard at the start of Dragonflight in an interview told us that something is definitely going on with Ethereals. All of this was done on purpose, we just need to wait and see. However, really this is only 10% of what we know. The biggest and the most legit hint is that almost certainly Troll is returning as possibly the main character of the next expansion, or one of the main ones. As you may have seen, he was on the BlizzCon announcement out that Blizzard officially posted. On previous BlizzCons, we had Sylvanas just before Shadowlands was announced, and Jaina just before BFA was announced. Troll, other than a former warchief, is also a very powerful shaman, so this could indicate something with the elementals happening, or him saving the world in some way, possibly having something to do with the awakening of Azeroth. Now in regards to Old God hints, I really don't want to bother you, as I have like 15 different videos you can check out on all the hints that we have, but so far, let's say we know about Yasharash, Yoxron, Zod. The only guy that we haven't really heard from is Katoon, but maybe they will change soon. However, of course, these are hints, but we also data mined two actually really interesting concrete things in 10.1.7. One of these is a Light Knight that we can't really tie to anything right now. The more interesting data mine bit though is the so-called Dimensional Breaker, this Void Naru, whose model is actually showing up in the patch. We have no idea what he will do, but we had seen these guys in the past. They're an indication that the Light and the Void are intrinsically connected, two sides of the same coin. Now that we have learned that Light also invades worlds, they aren't really all that different. My guess is that somehow this is going to be connected to Anshul and the entire story arc of the Cosmic Vault. The other popular hint that I'm not going to go into great depth because you probably heard it, it is this entire hidden continent. Super long story, super short, but it was for the longest time believed a continent exists next to Kalandor that no one managed to return from. No one until a Nightingale pilot returned and apparently brought plunder and is forming a new expedition to go back. This was brought into Dragonflight in 10.0.7 and it still hasn't been developed, so most likely this is next expansion content. There are also hints that the Titans couldn't deal with all the Old God stuff and that they could keep hidden a part of Old God continent on Azeroth, which could obviously be this continent. About a month ago, we discovered that a Titan facility exists known as Oldaz. This wasn't just some vague hint from some document. I mean, we literally got an item that can be used in Oldaz, which means we will go there soon. Keep in mind, Titan facilities are generally on separate continents. We have Ulduar Northland, Uldaman in the Eastern Kingdoms, Uldir and Zandalar, so this could totally be related to a new continent or a new zone or a new island that we are yet to discover. Even more interestingly, this could relate to those rebellious Titan Forge that were hinted at the start of the expansion. Now, things get even more interesting, 10 times more interesting. We know that Illyricon is baiting the actual Titans to come to Azeroth, which may just be the most ridiculous thing that has ever happened on Azeroth, and we could very likely see them in person very soon. However, the crazier hint is that there are actually some things pointing at the Burning Legion being reformed. We've discovered some Burning Legion plans as well as some new demon models that are actually coming in the new patch. Long story short, two very powerful former leaders of the Burning Legion have returned to Azeroth. Their rivals battling each other, also bringing demons. As their Natrazine, this could very likely involve the return of Denatrius and his entire plan, as let's be real, his story ended on a complete cliffhanger. Since the guy apparently manipulated both Sargeras and the Jailer, he definitely has a lot more up his sleeve than what he showed us in Revendred. However, if the Dreadlords are building a new legion, it would just be like mind-blowingly crazy, like literally death controlling Fel as a cosmological force. Then of course we have Xalatat, which is like the hint for the next expansion. This is a potential fifth old god that we have literally seen in that cinematic that will probably return soon. Personally, I see her coming back in the next expansion or at the end of Dragonflight, and who even knows what she has planned. Blizzard hinted at old gods change plans on the fly, and while they follow the Voidlord plans, they might have switched to something just completely different. There were also hinted the other old gods defeated Xalatat, so she may not even be working to bring them back or the Voidlords, but she may just be working on her own selfish goals. Lastly, there is that guy that predicted BFA, Shadowlands, Dragonflight all the way back in like 2016 by using the logic that Blizzard rehashes one of the storylines from the previously successful expansions, which obviously makes sense. So, Legion was continuation of TBC, BFA was the continuation of the Horde Line storyline from Mists of Pandaria, Shadowlands was based on the Lich King storyline from that, and Dragonflight was based on the Dragon storyline, obviously from Cataclysm. His next speculation is that the expansion that is yet to be announced will be related to an Elemental storyline from Cataclysm, as well as the Shah storyline from Mists of Pandaria. Seeing that we got Old God and Elemental hints everywhere, he may be right once again, predicting the fourth expansion below. However, a lot of Elemental stuff is happening in this expansion as well, so we may only be looking at the Shah, Yasharaj, Void stuff in the next one. Most interestingly, there are also heavy, and I mean heavy World Soul of Azeroth hints from Xalatat and Illyricon almost certainly coming for her, to the Titans coming to claim her, and pretty much every other cosmological force that cares about the World Soul of Azeroth. So it is likely we could finally, after all this time, see the awakening of Azeroth as a World Soul in the upcoming expansion, or at least finally learning what she even really is. Thank you for watching. Check out the details of the abilities by clicking on the screen, and check out Noah's Academy for videos on real world history. See you next time.